Welcome everyone to our first of 3 Shenandoah County candidate forums for the position of Board of Supervisors. Tonight we are in District 1 and we welcome candidate Mr. Josh Stevens. My name is David Hutton. I'm chairman of the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to start off by thanking many of the partners that made tonight possible. They include the Farm Bureau of Shenandoah County, Shenandoah County Education Association, the Alliance for the Shenandoah Valley, and the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce. The ground rules for this evening: the forum is intended to be a civil, nonpartisan discussion of issues. I will be asking the questions. The questions this evening were submitted online by you, the voters. Partner volunteers have reviewed the questions only to ensure that they meet the required criteria. We have received lots of questions for this evening's forum, and we will do our best to get through as many as possible. The schedule for this evening: unfortunately, Mr. Kwiatkowski was unable to attend tonight, so Mr. Stevens will have the opportunity to answer each question for 2 minutes. We have timers in place to make sure that we stay on schedule. They will hold up a yellow card after 30 seconds remaining and a red card when 5 seconds are left. There will be an introduction statement for 2 minutes to start us off, and then we will have a closing at the end of the questions. With all that being said, I welcome Mr. Stevens, and we'll start with your opening statement.
Well, I'm Josh Stevens. I grew up in Fort Valley, which is District 3 in Shenandoah County. Currently live in Quicksburg. I was fortunate enough to marry a lovely young lady from North Carolina right after college, and we live in Quicksburg with our 2 daughters. They're 6 and 1. We currently raise about 40 head of beef cattle, farming on 100 acres. We have 22 head of goats, and we raise those mainly for 4-H and FFA students in the county and surrounding counties for projects. And our latest venture, we have 2 commercial poultry houses where we raise approximately 360,000 broiler chickens a year. We're very proud of the fact that those chickens are processed right here at the Edinburgh plant in Georges and help support families who are employed there as well. I have another full-time job where I manage a Valley Equipment Company. We're a Kubota and Bobcat dealer on the north end of Harrisonburg. Very fortunate to support the agricultural community and industrial community in that respect as well.
Thank you. Our first question tonight deals with your qualifications and your experience. Why are you running for the Board of Supervisors? How will you improve the county as an elected supervisor? What makes you the best candidate?
So the reason I'm running, I want to make sure. I was very blessed to be able to move back to Shenandoah County and call Shenandoah County home and make a living in Shenandoah County. And I want those same opportunities for my children. As far as my qualifications, starting shortly after high school, I was the state president of the Virginia FFA Association. I was able to go to school at Virginia Tech and was involved in many organizations there, but I was the first president of Farmhouse Fraternity at Virginia Tech. Shortly after that, came home and been involved in many different things here locally. I'm currently the secretary of our Rurton Club in Forestville and Quicksburg. Was on the Shenandoah County Farm Bureau Association board for a number of terms, and was on the Planning Commission. I was appointed by Mr. Neese to the Planning Commission and spent 4 years there, and currently sitting in this position. And one of the things I'm really proud of, I was a fellow of what's called the Valor Program. It's an adult leadership development program through Virginia Tech. It's a 2-year fellowship, and we were able to, one of our sessions was solely centered around board politics and board, how to work with people on different types of boards, and from a local level all the way up to a national level. And those are a lot of the things that I was able to learn through that program, and attributes that I'm able to bring to Shenandoah County and the Board of Supervisors to make sure that we're effective members of that team.
Thank you. What do you consider to be your top 3 priorities for the Board of Supervisors for Shenandoah County?
Well, as you heard, I'm very passionate about agriculture. It's been it's been an integral part of my life ever since I was young, and I want to make sure that, based on the comprehensive plan and what we want to see in Shenandoah County. We want to see it a rural community and remain a rural community. And I'm very passionate that we have and support the #1 industry in the county, which is agriculture. The second, with that being said, we also have to have a healthy balance of economic development and an industry coming into the county. And I do want to show that we can support smart growth, smart industrial growth, smart residential growth in targeted areas in the county in order to attract folks to bring their business here, hire folks from Shenandoah County, which does nothing. A rise in the tide raises all the ships. So if we get that promoted in Shenandoah County, the chamber does a wonderful job doing that. They just need some more. They need some more fish in the sea to choose from. The third, for me, I do want to make sure that we have a wonderful working relationship with the school board. Almost half of our budget in Shenandoah County at the board level goes to our Shenandoah County public school system. And if you don't have a cohesive working relationship with the folks that sit on that board, then we're really working against each other. So it's very important that we're able to have that cohesiveness amongst the two governing bodies in order to move forward and make sure that we're making the best decisions for the citizens of the county.
Thank you. How do you feel political party loyalties play in your campaign, and what are your plans to move our county forward into a better future?
I was fortunate enough to run for and win the Republican nomination for this position. I was raised with very conservative Christian values that tend to align with the Republican Party. However, we're all human beings. We're all people. And just because we may disagree on one issue or the other doesn't mean we can't get along. It doesn't mean we can't treat one another with respect. And it doesn't mean that we can't come to some sort of cohesive thought to not be continuing to fight. Those tend to be, social issues, honestly, though. So for me, those types of social issues really don't come into play very much when you're trying to run the business of the county. What I plan to do in order to move the county forward would be to make sure that we protect the ideals and values that I grew up with, and at the same time respect one another enough to allow them to, voice their opinion, listen to their opinion, and try to make sure that we're doing things the best that we can for the majority of our citizens in the county, not only District 1.
Thank you. Our next question is focused on economic development. Many folks seem to think that more economic development in our county would broaden our tax base and create more revenue streams. Do you agree or disagree? What do you think is holding back economic development in our county? What in your background positions you to help with that? And I can repeat those in pieces.
Slightly, please.
Yes.
I can't write that
So the
fast.
first piece was that many folks believe that it would broaden our tax base and create more revenue streams. First of all, do you agree or disagree?
I certainly believe that having more economic development in the county is going to broaden our tax base. The more people that we have coming to the county, our second biggest industry is tourism. So the more people we have coming here, the more money they're going to spend and the more tax revenue that we'll be able to receive from the county. But at the same time, if we have industry, there are taxes that those types of folks need to pay. And that revenue we'll be able to make sure that the burden doesn't fall on real estate and personal property for the citizens of the county. So I agree with that statement.
What do you think is holding back economic development in our county?
One of the biggest things that, we hear that we already have a lot of these industrial sites in the county, and we do. Unfortunately, those sites were built for industry in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And the biggest thing holding us back is we don't have sites that are quote-unquote shovel-ready for people to move in and start work. It's going to take them twice as long, unfortunately, in our county to get their project complete as it may in counties that already have areas that are designated, clear, shovel-ready to get to work.
And what in your background positions you to help with economic development?
Well, one of the things that I've done, other than managing businesses, but a portion of managing a business is also taking care of salespeople, and every person is a salesperson. So, and that's what I tell my employees at work. Everybody's a salesperson. So if you can promote selling Shenandoah County to your neighbors and your colleagues, and honestly, I don't mind sitting at the table with folks and explaining to them why they need to come to Shenandoah County, what advantages we have in Shenandoah County that will make their business successful and prosperous, and promote the folks here that can be employed, because we're all hard-working blue-collar people. We put our work boots on, we go to work, and we get our jobs done, and that makes it very palatable for folks to come here. So my biggest thing would be an advocate or a salesperson to any industry that might want to come.
Thank you. We received questions regarding our schools. You mentioned in your opening remarks, or answering the question of your top 3 priorities, that the relationship with the schools was very important to you. Can you give examples of how you plan to work with the school board, and what do you think are the top priorities for the schools?
Well, there needs to be regular joint meetings, not only what I'd like to call executive committee meetings. It can't just be the chair and the vice chair of each organization every time. We need to have some joint collaborative meetings with all members of the board, and that can be done in a retreat type setting, if you will, or even in a meeting type setting at the county government center. So I'm going to encourage that we look into that. I'm not saying they need to be monthly, weekly, but they could be bi-monthly or quarterly. And those need to have a clear, concise agenda on what we want to talk about, and what types of things do the schools need from Shenandoah County, and what types of things does Shenandoah County expect from the schools as we move forward and move down the line. So that relationship needs to be strong, and it needs to be one that can be cultivated, and one that we can have a shared vision for what we expect out of what we expect as supervisors, because we represent the citizens. So when I listen to my citizens in District 1, and even citizens throughout the county, District 1's who I represent, but honestly, I represent the county on that when I'm sitting up on the stage as well. So listen to what their needs and concerns are, and bringing those back to the school board in a fashion that doesn't create controversy, but can create and cultivate dialogue but amongst both groups.
Thank you. The next question is in regards to the budget. Do you consider the current county audits to be sufficient? If not, please explain. Would you support spending additional county taxpayer dollars on more audits?
So we currently do a budget every year of our county financials. I do believe that budget does a good job of just making sure that there's not any type of, for lack of a better word, monkey business in the county office. But at the same time, we have a trust issue throughout government, whether it's federal, state, local. People just don't seem to trust what their money's being spent on. So there are many who don't trust what their money's being spent on, who would advocate for additional funds to just, let's dig into it deeper, let's be more transparent with where our funds are going and what we're spending the funds on, to make sure people are saying, okay, I'm good with that, it's providing me a service that I admire and that I need, and not being used in frivolous fashion. So, it's been mentioned that the county financials are available on the website, and there's over 200 pages of county financials available on the website. Well, the business that I'm involved with is 1.5 times the size of the county when it comes to revenue, and every month I get less than 30 pages of financial documents. So I know there's more layers, and there's things that we need to do at the county level that are more involved, but it doesn't need to be complicated. And I think reform on the way we report those financials to the citizens is something we can look into.
Thank you. The next question is around transportation in the county. What is your vision for the county in terms of transportation? What do you feel are the biggest transportation problems, and how would you address them?
Well, vision for transportation. One fun thing we have coming up on Friday, October 1st, is the Shenandoah ribbon cutting, and the bus that's going to travel and have stops all throughout the county. And I think that's wonderful, especially for currently, I've mentioned George's. They currently have to have a van to go around and pick up their employees, and it'd be really nice that maybe if they could streamline that with the Shenandoah program to where folks can meet at a bus stop, get dropped off at one location, and George's doesn't have to maybe spend as much money on their own fuel and gas to get there to pick up their workers and their employees. It's going to open up an opportunity for folks who maybe want to go to work and don't have the means to do so. So I do like the idea of and the concept and the implementation of the Shenandoah program. Our biggest issue with transportation is 81st Street, which is two lanes and north and south that cut right down through the center of our county. And I sat in traffic for 20 minutes on the way here this evening due to an accident on Interstate 81. So I think that's the biggest issue that we have. The traffic itself is horrendous. It's continuing to get much more busy and much more congested. I don't think we can go a single week without at least one accident from Newmarket to Strasburg on 81, and we need to work diligently with the county and other folks in the county, but definitely diligent with our neighbors and VDOT and folks in Richmond at the Department of Transportation to what we need some of that pressure alleviated. And what does that look like? I'm not sure right now, but that's an issue that needs to be addressed sooner than later.
Our last question of the night is in regards to social issues facing this county. What do you think are the most pressing needs of low-income constituents, and how would you address those needs?
I think one of the needs for low-income constituents, pressing needs, would be they need a good. They need a good place to work that's reliable, that's going to pay them what they're worth to be there. A good solid day's work. We have a lot of that in the county now. I think there's room to have more. Those folks also, we need to look at the way we assess some of our older personal property in Shenandoah County. I do feel like needs reform and needs to be addressed as well, based on, we go through real estate assessments all the time, but some of the other personal property assessments, I feel, especially folks with a low income and a car that's 25 years old, but they're still paying an assessed value there's no way they'd get that kind of money for it if they tried to trade it in or sell it on the street. So I think there's ways to look at situations with folks who have a lower income or come from a lower income situation and family life. Try to help alleviate as much as we can. And we were very fortunate, my colleagues on the board last year, through an application process and through some COVID money, they were able to give out numerous $400, I don't want to say scholarships because that's not the right word, but $400 payments to folks who had children in the schools and folks that were having to stay home or maybe even had to quit their job in order to stay home and help with their children who were not able to go to school. So looking into other things like that as we get more CARES money and more COVID money coming to the county, what are ways we can help the lower income folks in our community just to alleviate some of the pressure and some of the stress they face on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. To close each of our candidate forums, we end with the candidate having a 2-minute opportunity to present a closing statement.
As a native of Shenandoah County, this is a place that I was able to move back to, a place that I deeply love and have a passion and a fervor for. I'm very fortunate to own a business in this county. I'm very fortunate to raise a family in this county, and I want to make sure that my children and my neighbors are able to do the exact same thing if they so wish and moving into the future. I feel I'm the only altruistic candidate for District 1 Supervisor, and I will unselfishly serve each and every candidate, or each and every constituent, citizen in District 1, including my candidate, and I'll do it with as much transparency and sincerity as I possibly can. So I appreciate your support. I would like to thank the Alliance for Shenandoah Valley, Shenandoah County Farm Bureau Association, Shenandoah County Education Association, and the Chamber. You all put on a wonderful forum, wonderful questions. Thank you for reaching out to the community in order to get those. That's very important to me. And Mr. Hutton, wonderful job. Thank you for being here and spending your time this evening to moderate the forum.
Thank you. Thank you for viewing our first of our 3 candidate forums. Tonight was for District 1 Board of Supervisors. Again, our partners that made tonight possible are the Farm Bureau of Shenandoah County, the Shenandoah County Education Association, Alliance for the Shenandoah Valley, and the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce. Special thanks to everyone who helped out this evening, to the candidate for participating, to everyone who submitted a question, and to Hank Zimmerman and Shenandoah Valley Productions for their video support. Thank you again for viewing tonight, and again, a reminder to go vote on November the 2nd. Thank you.